including first news of Inverness Rangers at 1:45. Lorna?
Thank you, Nick. Now, despite concerns over access to NHS dentistry, it seems the nation's dental health is improving. But although more of us are going for regular checkups, nearly 40% of the population still avoid the dentist's chair, with a measure of dental anxiety suggesting that 17% of women are terrified of the dentist. No surprise then that 1 in 7 people in England do not have enough of their own teeth left to eat comfortably. And that figure's even worse in Wales, although to their credit they do get their gnashers checked more often. As for Scotland, well, they declined to offer up their pearly whites for inclusion in the survey. We're going to talk about this now, if you can bear it. Joining me to shine more light on the issue, Dr. Nigel Carter, who's Chief Executive of the British Dental Health Foundation, and psychologist Professor Tim Newton, who specialises in people's dental anxieties, fears and perceptions of treatment. Afternoon to you both. Lengthy introduction. Nigel, the survey, does it surprise you? Only 40% getting regular checks?
I don't think that's a surprise at all. I mean, we know that only around half of us go to the dentist on a regular basis.
Gosh.
This is out of the sort of access figures that the NHS gives us.
Oh, OK. Is it down to access, free NHS treatment, or is it down to people not wanting to go?
Well, I think we're now at the stage where we've nearly met the access problem.
Right.
So Gordon Brown's pledge about 18 months ago was that everybody that wanted to see an NHS dentist would be able to get one by April next year. We think we're going to be pretty close to that. So we're then left to people who may actually have a need to go, but don't actually want to. And we've got a big thing then to try and get them to get along to the dentist and get their teeth sorted out.
And this is where the likes of Professor Tim Newton comes in. What is it, generally? I mean, this is a vague question, but what don't people like?
Well, I think the survey is quite clear that there's 3 groups of people. Those who just don't like dentistry at all, the smells, the sounds, the whole environment. And then there's people who don't like specific things. So that's usually either drills or injections.
Right, and just having things shoved in your mouth for so long. How do you get... I mean, presumably dentist surgeries and dentists have been working hard on this.
Yeah, I think it's very important to say that things have improved hugely over the last 20, 30 years. And for those people who haven't been along to the dentist for a long time, I mean, dentistry should now be pain-free. Let's be honest about it, it's never going to be the most pleasant thing that we have done to us. And I think all of us have some degree of apprehension in the dentist chair. It's perhaps interesting from the survey that rather more women than men admit to that. I think from practice it's probably pretty similar, but the men are maybe a bit more stoical about it.
How would you go about, as a psychologist, helping people that have this awful fear of going?
Okay, well, basically we would differentiate between those who have a sort of moderate level of fear but are able to attend.
Okay.
In which case we've put a lot of work into trying to make the environment nicer. So sort of using visual images and
soft
smells.
music doesn't help the fact that you're going to have something in your mouth for half an hour.
For those who are more extreme fear, what we basically have is we use cognitive behaviour therapy, which has these 2 elements. We gradually reintroduce people to the thing that they're scared of. So we might start with photographs, or we have little sounds we can play them with the drill, so they can gradually build that up. And then we gradually, very, very gently reintroduce them to the environment. Within about 6 to 8 hours, we can probably take someone from extreme fear to having dental treatment.
That quickly. Hypnotherapy, is that something that's used?
I don't use hypnotherapy personally. Some people find it very helpful. But I think people don't need to be hypnotised, they just need to be gradually reintroduced. The other element is the kind of thoughts, and particularly amongst the younger people who often haven't had a lot of dental treatment. It's more the fear of what might happen.
Yeah.
And dentistry gets quite a bad press in terms of sort of our image of dentistry, and it is often thought of as painful, even though it isn't.
No, as you say, I mean, most of it should be pain-free, though my recent experience might not suggest that. I mean, everybody has different experience. The figure in this that completely surprised me, 1 in 7 people in England don't have enough of their own teeth left to eat comfortably.
Well, I think this is really down to history. These surveys now have been going on for 40 years, and they're done about every decade or so. And if we go back to the 1968 survey, then at that time 38% of the population over the age of 16 had no teeth at all. And you have to think about that twice, because if it was 38% over the age of 16, by the time you got into middle age, the expectation was you were going to have a nice new set of NHS plastic dentures. Now we've moved from that, but that population, if you were getting dentures in your 40s in 1968, you're still around and elderly. So it really is that the number of people that are losing teeth totally is reducing almost as fast as we could expect it to.
And just one final thought, with everything these days surrounded by celebrity glamour, style, these pearly whites that we see on the likes of Simon Cowell on the X Factor, I mean, do they give people, they're not real, are they? I mean, do they give people the wrong impression of dentistry?
Well, I think they give people the wrong impression of dentistry, but the important thing to bear in mind is that as people are keeping their teeth for longer and into later life, they want to keep them looking good. So that's when cosmetic dentistry does start to come into its own.
And you know what most people say, just knock me out, do what you need to do and wake me up when it's over. That's what I say. Dr. Nigel Carter, thank you very much indeed. Professor Tim Newton, thank you both.
Thank you.
Let us know what you think about that. Are you having dentistry at the moment? Many people are scared of it. Take a look at our website, skynews.com, how the east coast of Australia is coping with flash floods. And coming up, should students forget marching if they want to influence politics? We look at the lessons learned from history. And acting under God's instructions, the homeless street preacher convicted of kidnapping a teenage girl.